Honestly, I don't know if I will want to upload this video, but well, right now I'm going to the Montreal General Hospital to get my left lung checked and hopefully everything's gonna be alright. I need to get an x-ray, and if the pneumothorax is absorbed, then I can go home, and if not, then I need some drainage, which means that I will have to stay at the hospital. We don't want that. That's why I said I don't know if I really want to be filming this, but well, if everything goes alright, fingers crossed, then I will explain to you guys everything later. For now, I'm leaving to the hospital. Wish me luck, and here we go. Okay, I'm happy to be back, and honestly, I still don't know if I should be making this video, but you know, it's a chapter of my life, it's something that I'm going through, and it might explain what's to come next, because honestly, I feel like after going through all of this, I will need to make changes. Anyway, I'm gonna start from the beginning. I don't want to make this video very long. I don't really like talking about this. I think I will be probably writing a blog post if you want to know things more in depth. You will find that on my blog, jeanest.com. I feel really grateful that I'm sitting here at home talking to you and I'm not at the hospital, so that's a reason to be happy for this whole thing, this whole situation. Alright, so my left lung collapsed is a medical condition that I have already been through in the past, not in this lung but in the right lung. It happened twice, and I'm gonna proceed to give you guys a little bit of like a timeline. As I said, I want to keep things brief, so I'm gonna educate you first on what a collapsed lung is. It's a sentence that I never thought I would be saying. A collapsed lung, it's also called a pneumothorax. That's like the scientific term for it. It's basically when you get air trapped inside your chest cavity, but it's not air inside your lung because you would be breathing. It's difficult to explain, alright, but our lungs are covered by a membrane, I feel. It's called the pleura. So if you get air trapped in between your lung and the pleura, that air sort of like compresses the lung and therefore you cannot like fully breathe. I will be putting like a diagram in here so you can actually see what I'm talking about. So that happens in my case spontaneously, which means it doesn't really have an explanation because I haven't gotten like any injury. There are several theories about why it might happen, but I'm gonna save you up the time and just say that they don't really know that well. It commonly happens in young males that are thin and tall, which funnily enough is a category that I fall into, although it hasn't always been like that. If you are a smoker, which I'm not, that would also put you at like a higher risk of getting a pneumothorax. The first time that this happened to me was back in 2017. I was still 17 at the time. The timing was so bad, it completely caught me off guard. Like, I'd never been admitted to a hospital before, so I was like, why is this happening to me and why is this happening to me now? The whole reason why I went to the hospital in the first place was because I couldn't breathe properly. I was having like a really awful cough and I also had a lot of pain in my back, so it was a weird combination of symptoms. I don't know, I just had never felt something like that before, but I wasn't worried because I didn't have any major health problems till that point, so I was like, it might be the flu. I don't know, I was under a lot of pressure. I had like so many things to worry about. So, I mean, somehow I ended up going to the ER where they found out that I had a pneumothorax on my right lung and it was a sort of big one, so they had to remove it. This is when things get a little bit graphic, and it's honestly the source of all my trauma, and that is how they solve it. When there's air inside your chest cavity, they insert a chest tube in between your ribs and they suction the air out. Honestly, like even thinking about it makes me like squirm. They plugged my right lung, they gave me oxygen, and it is honestly so painful. Like your ribs are such a sensitive area. It is honestly disgusting. It's called a drainage, and spoiler, I had to go through it like 3 times. The real issue with having your lung collapse is that if it happens once, you have like way more chances of it happening again. And in my case, it happened again a couple of months later. That summer was so chaotic. Like I had so many things going on. I had the exams, which honestly I shouldn't have even gone because like I did them for nothing. And I had to go with like a pouch going out from my lung because I wasn't ready to leave the hospital. So that was a whole thing. And then I had like 2 trips around Europe that I planned out with my friends. I also obviously had university around the corner. So a lot of things happening, and it was very frustrating and very painful having to go through all of this. Like having to be at the hospital because your lungs are not working properly, and like my future and everything that I was fighting so hard for was suddenly under threat because I couldn't fly anywhere. I couldn't really do much. Since I was clearly prone to this happening to me, I was a perfect candidate for surgery, which they perform it so it won't happen again. Up to this day, I haven't had problems in my right lung, but that takes me to the present. 5 years later, here we are. Last Sunday I was at home and I felt a really sharp pain in my chest and like a familiar sort of like pressure, and on top of that I could like hear something inside my lung, and I ended up going to the ER here in Canada, and don't even get me started. Like I was there, I swear to God, for like 26 hours, literally in like a waiting room. I don't even know what to think about the Canadian healthcare system. They are obviously really overworked, but if you're gonna keep somebody at the ER for 26 hours, like why do you even have it open? It is an emergency room, so you know it was obviously an emergency. Anyway, I paid, by the way, 1.3k for this whole mess. I'm waiting for my health insurance to pay me back, but it's something that I cannot even like comprehend. Moving on, after waiting for that unreal amount of time, I already knew what I had. Like I had already gone through it twice on this lung, so I knew the feeling, I knew the pain, I know my body. They did 2 x-rays and they were like, yeah, you have a pneumothorax, but it's small, so what you can do is rest and wait, because when they are small they might reabsorb. And they told me that I would have a follow-up appointment in another hospital, which is what I went to yesterday. They took an x-ray of my lungs. They were like, it's almost gone, so you don't need to have drainage, and they told me that I could go home. I am currently exploring the route of getting surgery so I can make sure it won't happen again. Like I want to seal this lung as well, so I am completely free from this like curse. They do call it spontaneous, but my doctor in Spain told me that from his experience, anxiety and stress have something to do with it. And looking at my experience, I can see that, I mean, more than a stress, I would say that when this has happened to me, I've been really unhappy. When I was 17, I was like so lost. I didn't know what to do with my life. I had to study a lot of stuff that I honestly didn't even like, and I knew it wasn't gonna be useful for me. So I was pretty miserable that year. And now, I mean, I don't want to go out and say I'm unhappy with my life, but there's definitely things, and I do mention this in my previous video, there's things that I need to change and things that I've been avoiding for a long time. I want to see this experience as a wake-up call, a sign that things do need to change and that I cannot keep going like this. There's something that is not sustainable, and I do know what it is. It's just that I haven't had the courage to address it and properly sit with my feelings and be like, hey, let's find a solution. It's gonna be a journey, and I don't want to make this whole I have to change things another source of stress, because that would be really ironic. I do want to put this out as a part of my story. It's a warning sign. It's you know, a health scare, but I choose to see beyond that and I choose to give it a meaning. If it ends up happening again in the future, it's something that I can't control. I'm likely not the same person that I was when I was 17. I know what I'm dealing with. I know that I will be alright, but I'm choosing to react. I think I'm gonna leave it here for today because I'm kinda exhausted and I need to take a break. I said it before, I want to take you guys with me in this journey, and from this point on I guess you will see more stuff and you'll see the way that I change my circumstances. Thank you so much for your support if you have stayed till the end of the video. I don't even know if I have explained myself really well. You always have the vlog post, which I guess will make more sense. Yeah, I'll see you guys very soon. Bye.